That's right. Back at it again. Full custom hot dog, and we're doing another Blu-ray review, baby. Probably my first one, I think, since the hiatus I have taken. And I'm actually thrilled to talk about this one. I wanted to get this out on Valentine's Day and couldn't. So here it is. Much delayed, and a film that I love and couldn't believe that Scream Factory put this out. Mainly just surprised because I always feel like a lot of people hate this movie, and this was always a favorite of mine, and I don't mean like a top 10, but I do like this a lot in the slasher genres. It ticks a lot of boxes for me. If you watch any of my other episodes where I talk about slashers, you know I love cool masks and cool kills, and this ticks both of those boxes, wonderfully so. But let's get into the details of what is on this disc from Scream Factory. So, we've got a new 2K scan of the original film elements. Now, if you're asking yourself, hot dog, did they do a director's cut or anything? No. There's only one cut. Now, there are gorier versions of the kills that were shot. Those are in here. Those have not been redone and added to the film, though. So if you're looking for some kind of ultimate cut, that's not here, and I think that's fine. You've got a new audio commentary with the director Jamie Blanks, Don Coscarelli, which was a huge surprise. Apparently they're homies, so that was really cool to hear Don Coscarelli on that, and author Peter Brack, and then an original commentary, which is Jamie Blanks himself. I think that must have been on a DVD release, I'm assuming. You've also got new interviews with actors Jessica Caulfield, Denise Richards, and Marley Shelton. New interviews with co-writers Gretchen J. Berg, Aaron Harbert, and then a thing with the composer Don Davis, and editor Steve Merkovich, and then vintage cast and crew interviews, which is very cool, and then a theatrical trailer, which the trailers for this are kind of interesting as well. This is reported to be the lowest budget film of the Super Bowl spot, which is, again, a very odd choice. And I do like this one. I mentioned it's a favorite, and maybe my favorite from the that whole early 2000s renaissance of slashers we got post-Scream. It was like this, Urban Legends. What was the other one? What was the Hookman one? I Know What You Did Last Summer. I like this one maybe the most. What am I talking about? I usually review the disc. This is a great disc. This is an A. A+ would have been for putting in all the deleted scenes and everything, of course, and making a bigger version. But this is a very, very solid release from a film that I did not think would see one. So an absolute. So thank you. Thanks a lot, Scream Factory. So if you have not seen Valentine, what's it about? Well, according to IMDb, it's about 5 women that are stalked by an unknown assailant while preparing for Valentine's Day. But it's a little bit more than that. It sort of starts with some young women at a junior high Valentine's Day dance, and there's this young dork, Jeremy Milton, who everyone hates for some reason, and he's not like he's a gross, ugly kid like Jason in the original Friday the 13th, but he's just a goofy little nerd kid, and everyone just beats him up, and they kind of carry him without dumping blood, but they just beat him up and rough him up, and they sort of make him into... I think one of the women makes people think that like he jumped on her and made out with her or something against her will, and then he gets beat up, and then fast forward years later, and now there is a killer who is using Valentine's Day as a theme for killing. So he throws in some really very nice handmade Valentine's Day cards that look pretty cool. He's got a cool mask, which is like a Cupid's face, which you can see in these thumbnails. I love that look. I think it's creepy as hell. David Boreanaz is in this. I haven't even talked about the cast or the director. I'm still getting back in the groove of my Blu-ray review, so I apologize. It's directed by Jamie Blanks. Jamie Blanks, you may know, who directed Urban Legend, which I think is great again. Scream Factory also did a release, which I have yet to pick up, but I want to because I do like that movie a lot. Same thing there. Cool looking killer, cool kills. And you might think, oh, he's just, the killer's just wearing a parka or a snow jacket. It looks cool to me. And the kills are great in that. Also directed the remake of the Australian classic Long Weekend. And then some other stuff I haven't heard too much about, and I don't know what he's done lately. Looks like mainly composing, which is cool. He also composed the score for that Long Weekend remake, so I'm sure that's pretty solid. But I like this movie a lot. It ticks all the boxes, there's a lot of tension, and this almost feels, and they talk about this in the commentaries a lot, this almost feels like a giallo. You could, if this was done in Italy in that Italian style, maybe it would be considered a classic giallo. And I mentioned how the kills got sort of cut, and I think that was with the director's wishes. It seemed like he was absolutely okay with cutting them out, or at least making them less brutal. I don't think that hinders the movie not having those, but it's still cool to see those somewhere. And the kills are great. There's a kill with Denise Richards, which I think is probably one of the best from around this era. Is just awesome and totally tension filled. And you get a great bow and arrow scene, because what's having a Cupid killer in a film if you're not going to give them a bow and arrow? Katherine Heigl is in this as well. As I mentioned David Boreanaz already from Bones, who one of his co-stars in Bones is in this as well. Jessica Capshaw. Katherine Heigl is in this. She's disowned this film and she totally hates it, which is dumb, and I don't care what she thinks anyways. Richard Kelly almost directed this, who directed Donnie Darko and then a bunch of other stuff that wasn't that good. I actually really want to do a video about why I no longer like Donnie Darko, and that's partially Richard Kelly's fault. Maybe that will be a video at some point. Let me know if that's something you want to hear me rant about. I will absolutely do it, because there's a little bit of story there. But yeah, I think this is an extremely solid slasher that I feel like people are eager to kind of rip on, and check out Valentine if you haven't seen it. It maybe part of the problem is that it's not self-aware. Scream came out and sort of mocked the genre, it mocked slashers, and it was aware of what it was. And Valentine, maybe it takes itself a little too seriously and sort of lacks that whole thing of being in on the joke, so it comes off kind of hokey. But I think that's just sort of the slasher genre. I mean, when we look at the classics, they're all kind of hokey, and I think this fits in fine with any of them. And again, great cast. Did I mention Denise Richards, Miss Wild Things herself, and also a Bond girl? It's also great to see all of them in interviews on the special features as well. I apologize if this review seems a little sporadic. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of getting back in the groove of my review, so I've got this one and hopefully one or two more coming out this week. But yeah, let me know what you think of Valentine. It's a favorite of mine. Maybe it is my favorite circa 2000s-ish slasher film. So let me know where you're at on it. Let me know if you don't like it. Let me know why, because I'm definitely curious to know that as well. And if you are a fan of Valentine, definitely check out Scream Factory's Blu-ray release. They really did this one justice, and it was one movie that I had been hoping for a release for a long time, and I was very scared that somebody like who is it, Image might pick it up or something, just some goofball label that wouldn't give it any kind of love. But it's wonderful to see something like this that I had thought was universally disliked to get such a nice release. So check it out, Valentine. I give this a hot dog recommendation, but if you don't like it, it's got an 18 Metascore, if that means anything to you. If it doesn't, go nuts. And thank you for watching as always. Full Custom Hot Dog. Make sure to give this a like, thumbs up, subscribe, mash that like button, fam, hit the bell for notifications, yada, yada, yada. And you can always holla at me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that is just too long for Twitter. And until next time.